All right, everybody, welcome on back. Continuing along, of course, our Wednesday afternoon here in the Cyber Group Trading Room, streaming across social media, Facebook and YouTube alike. Welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. As always, let's get a quick sound check to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. There we go. All of our students here: William, Daniel, Pat, Kathleen, John, Michael, Guy. Great to see you guys here loud and clear from all, unanimous. All right, and perfect. And welcome on back for all of us streaming across social media, like I'd said, guys. So with that in mind, this will be more of a lightning round edition of our afternoon meeting, as I like to say at times. That's because we have class coming up. So for all of our students here inside our live trading room, we know that the Phase 2 stock course started this morning. I taught the first lesson this morning. We were discussing indicators. Just simply put, the indicators lag behind the volume. So that was our point. We were going through moving averages, RSI, MACD. So they're helpful as far as a guidance, right? Like a secondary tool for you to follow, a stock up or down. We'll actually be going over this one stock here, WKHS, heading into the afternoon class. And we'll actually kind of go through a couple of other indicators that we failed to go through, at least from earlier this morning. So for right now, guys, what we'll do is just go from top to bottom. Of course, I'd be remiss to not mention the market drop-off, of course, right? The Dow opening up, just kind of slow, steady, not really doing too much. And then right after the first 15 minutes, I mean, we saw a bit of a breakdown. And then right once we started class, that was at 10:35 Eastern time earlier today. I mean, at that point, the markets were just beginning to fall off, right? So that's where you could see the Dow breaking a bit lower. That's the orange stock, or the orange symbol that's on the chart there. So, the Dow was down like 800 points by the time we finished up class. That was right around 12 o'clock. So for the meantime, since it's just been in a bit of a tighter range as expected, given such a lengthy move down earlier this morning. So what we'll do is go from top to bottom across the gainers and losers list. Perhaps we'll dip into some of the side list stocks in a moment. It would be easy for me to just put WKHS just on our list heading into the afternoon. The news out on Workhorse really quick, just to go through this to start. This is number 35, where are we? Number 7 on the gainers list. So we were going to get to this, but just to mention right now, Workhorse Group shares trading higher on continued strength after the company on Tuesday announced that it successfully passed the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard tests. It's a bit of a tongue twister for all of its electric delivery vans. So I'm going to post that news across the live stream here on YouTube, Facebook. I'll post that right here. Oh, Pat, there we go. Beat me to the punch inside the trading room here. All right, cool. So yeah, I appreciate that, Pat. Thank you very much. WKHS definitely on our list for right now, but otherwise, what we'll do is go right from top to bottom here. So we ended up seeing this WINS stock, I mean, make this crazy move up shortly after the market opened up. But with this stock, guys, I mean, I was a negative Nancy on this, perhaps. I mean, I'm always a bit of a hater after we see such a lengthy run up, especially something like WINS. I mean, super low float, super low volume typically, and crazy big spread. I mean, Fausto even noted this earlier. He had called it out saying, hey, it got halted, it reopened up. But off the reopen, he said right away, okay, never mind, guys. This is like a $4 spread right now. So as much as this ran up, we were expecting, obviously, the end result here to see this open up much lower. And that is exactly what I said earlier, guys, inside the trading room. I was saying for all of these halts on the way up, when it halts down, the sucker's going to open up that much lower. So this thing, I mean, I would have been, I don't know what I would have done if I was stuck in this, unfortunately. So that's typically why we don't tend to trade low float, low runners like this WINS stock, or at least extremely low float, low volume. I wouldn't be surprised at this point to see this just pull back lower going into the end of the day. If not today, then perhaps tomorrow. All right, SINT, S-I-N-T, also another one that was fairly lower float, but ended up making a nice pop after the open. Of course, as you could see on level 3, the trade station matrix here, at least right now, but much, of course, from earlier this morning, stock has a very tight spread, very liquid order book for this morning, or for today at least. So this has made a very nice run up towards 250. The only issue on this trade, though, is that given the volume it's been trading today, at least, for the run up that this stock has made, I'd like to think that it's kind of exhausted itself out. We've been calling this stock out for the 250 breakout, but it's failed to break out over that level a couple of times thus far. So if it's not breaking higher, there's only one other way the stock's going to go. And surprisingly, it hasn't made too nasty of a shakedown just yet. It's been a very gradual drop. So I still have a little hope perhaps on this Cint trade. Maybe I'll come back to this just at the end, but I'll keep this, on the side for the meantime. All right, another one, IPDN. This one was more interesting in pre-market. Professional Diversity Network made a nice squeeze from 150 up towards 320, double top, held it, and then that was much prior to 8 o'clock Eastern time when most brokerages open up for pre-market trading. So even after that, made a small little return up, lower high, of course, but same old song and dance, guys. Shortly after the open, for as much as the stock was up. And I don't think there was really any news on this. I think that it was just halted for so long. This was halted back from November 26th last year. So halted for a reason, but they opened it up for trading this morning out of nowhere. Ended up making a nice pump, but big dump back down. All right, another one, CTIB. I mean, hey, history has a tendency to repeat itself, right? So this stock back in the pre-market 2 weeks ago, back on the 12th, ended up pumping up, dumping back down, and guess what? It opened up lower the next day. So, that's something that we also expect. The VVNT trade, not really doing much. Hertz was a nice trade from earlier. It took a little while for it to get the gears going, but ended up eventually making a breakout over resistance that we had off of 150. Steady trend, at least, up towards the eventual high of the day, 249. The fact that it's 249 and not 250, I mean, again, we kind of said this earlier, or said this yesterday, but that speaks volumes. I mean, hey, if there's no buying interest at that resistance, then what makes us think the stock's going to keep moving up? So at this point, this thing is screaming back down. Yeah, maybe given the range, this can make maybe like a 15, 20 cent little bounce for the afternoon, but we're not going to focus on it. Oish, the WKHS trade. Yikes. All right, so we're going to keep this on our list, of course. Hopefully this is the shake that we're that we needed on this stock. I mean, we were expecting this to return back to my trend line that I had up here, but otherwise I was calling out for potential support around 940, and pretty much that's right around where we had the trend line. So once it ended up pulling back, it never really ended up holding, just moved lower, and then bam, big old shake down to 9. You got to figure also, guys, and this is what we'll talk about on this trade going into class later on today. This stock, given the range that it's made, not even today, just day to day over the last week or so, you got to figure 50-cent levels and hold numbers for a trade like this at this stage. So this held 10 perfectly as the top, fell right back down, and at least for the meantime, guess where it's holding above? 9. So hopefully it can remain above 9, move back up towards my 940. Perhaps that could be the next higher low, and for it to run back up. So we're going to keep this on our list, but we saw a couple of comments in the chat board just before, and I was going to come back to this trade. So there you go. Cheapy, Jack, Jakk. I mean, this thing's made a nice little pop. It seems like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It's moving up towards the next major resistance off a buck. Figure in terms of increments, and again, we'll be talking about that this afternoon. Yeah, figure roughly every 5 cents for there to be a bit of a stronger level. I mean, you could still see it like 107, 22K seller, 102, 17K. Maybe I'll come back to this, Jack. I'd like to see if there's better opportunities. At least this thing's beginning to move up. All right, and as always now, after going through the first like 5, 8, whatever, we'll just go through the price here and see. So a couple of other cheapies not really doing as much just yet. Look at this, Plug, still moving up at this point. Wow. So kind of like Workhorse, day over day, at least, since the big gap up yesterday, at least moving up, and of course at the highs. So this thing seems like it's poised to make a big move heading into the afternoon, whether it's a breakout over resistance off of 775. Perhaps next major resistance above there would be off of 8. Otherwise, I mean, hey, we've been following this on the way down, on the way up. So this has been a very fun stock to day trade. Plug. All right, great. EDNT. We go through so many different stocks, guys. I think that we watched this yesterday, and it wasn't as much afternoon. Yeah, it was pre-market yesterday. That's right. It dumped off, and yeah. All right, so it moved up nicely, at least across the afternoon, and it kind of seems like it's building a bit of a Fausto flag off 340 at the top. for right now, it's not really doing enough for me to put this on the main list. All right, I think we may have skipped over a couple here. Or maybe the scanner just refreshed on me. NHVR or VIR here. This NH trade does appeal to me. Of course, right at the highs, 12,000 share order on Iceberg on the ask at 475. All right, cool. Let's see, VIR, VXRT. This one's a familiar name. And this VIR one's just freaking flying at this point. Wow. $47, $48 stock, obviously, given the run up and the lack of liquidity on the order book, this thing is going to move very sharply still, even if we happen to see a bit of a volume drop off here in the next few minutes. You could see some prints filled at 48, a strip of 2,300 share prints. So it goes to show that someone scaled out. Otherwise, for the meantime, yeah, keep in mind that 48 level. It's, of course, still right around it, but there's no real volume on the ask here. So got to make sure 48 could hold as support and then for that to make the next leg up. But yeah, I'll put this on our list. Definitely a level 5 stock in terms of volatility. Now, Gene says Sint is taking off. Ah, man, you've got to be kidding me. Not just yet, Gene, but hopefully in time for class later. I was going to say I was recording my trading monitor before this meeting, perhaps to for good content coming up for class. So obviously that's where I said WKHS. I was going back and forth between that and Sint, and I told myself if this Sint trade freaking pops during the meeting, I'll be so upset. But here we go. I mean, it is making that move up right now, guys. Stop right now. Come on. I don't want this to pop yet. Save it for class. Got a huge iceberg on the ask at 250. All right, let's see. We'll come back to that, guys. VXRT is taken off as well. I was going to jump to this one next. The VXRT trade we're pretty familiar with. I think this stock was one of the coronavirus stocks back in late January, early February. It was very similar to GNPX, very similar to CODX, the INO stock. Yeah, January 21st. This was the beginning. January 21st, guys, that's like going to be a historic date, at least in terms of the stock market, because that was really the first date that we ended up seeing news come out for, coronavirus related vaccine or testing. I think it was GMPX, VXRT, a few of these other ones. All right, I had a comment here from YouTube saying, look at Surf. Well, I'm looking at it right now, pushing up pretty nicely. We followed the stock, as you can see on the daily chart, back pretty much a month ago, ended up making a huge pop, huge continued move up the next day. Unfortunately, look what happened the following day after that. It dumped right back down. So, that's where I say, guys, we're not going to hold these as much day to day. And if it ends up running up that much higher, then God bless. We'll look to jump back in the next morning, perhaps. This surf trade definitely we'll put on our list for the meantime here. So that's a good call. All right. And I was going to jump to Lake next. We got a few of these that are making a nice run up. Lakeland also, they developed, I believe it was the, get this right, I think it was the hazmat suits, if I'm not mistaken, for those that were treating Ebola back in, 2014 it was, 2015. And of course, now you could see back in late January, the 21st, big pop for Corona. So yet again, another Corona stock making a big move. At this point, guys, you know what? I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to jump right to INO. I'm going to jump to CODX. Are all of these moving up at this point? INO obviously made a big move up earlier today. Your CODX, at least from 1 o'clock, 1:30, pushing up nice and steadily. All right. So CODX, you're making the list. What else do we have? Anything else? OPK, OPCO Health. They made like testing kits a little while back, not really doing much. APT ran from earlier today. We were following that on and off, much more on than off over the last week, 2 weeks. AHPI, this one's looking great too. At this point, guys, I mean, it's been what, like 3-4 months? I have these it's like a Rolodex in the back of my head at this point with all these coronavirus stocks. We've been trading these so frequently. At this point, it's just clockwork. You just know what stocks to look at this point. Not all of them are going to make the exact same move. Not all of them are going to, trend well together. But for those that are making the same type of pattern here, at least, we're going to focus on them. So AHPI, CODX, Lake. VXRT we'll include there as well. And, you know, INO, we're going to keep INO off the list. It's a very tradable stock given the volatility, but I feel like it's made such a run up the last 2 days. And then, of course, there's more than just that, guys. Someone called out NVAX in the YouTube stream here just a moment ago. NVAX making a bit of a push up to 80 all-time highs, I think. So NVAX, more of an expensive one, more of a level 4 to 5 stock, but yeah, this one, it's hard for us to just, you know, not hard for us to avoid. Oh, it's not all-time highs. My apologies, but oh my goodness, not all-time highs, but honestly, it might just be even better. This might even be better. I will say the only gripe is that 80, roughly maybe 80, maybe 85 above here would be a major historical level. Yeah, I think that we have some room on this, but look at the huge gap to fill here dating back to late 2016. Holy smokes. All right, so yeah. Thought it was all-time highs. May have been Moderna, mRNA. We'll keep it pushing. mRNA, what else do we have here, guys? Pushing up here a little bit. Oh, man, how many stocks do I have on this freaking list at this point, guys? We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stocks already. Are you kidding me? And the market's down 800 points. Oh, my goodness. We haven't even gone to the losers list yet. So let's just kind of stop. And here's GMPX. Speak of the devil, so to say. We're going to have a 30 stock watch list, guys. I normally joke about that, but at this point, GMPX, we're putting right back on our list here. Now, a couple of these we're going to avoid at this stage. PRPO, pump and dump from earlier. This was a fantastic call out. We ended up noting this from Benzinga Pro, ended up giving us the signal, popped early. We caught this off 150-ish, 160, moved up much higher, but, you know, of course, as you could see, that's the dump back down. So Luckin Coffee, LK. Pretty flat for right now. I guess it made a little bit of a squeeze earlier. And then Sava, dead cat bounce type of stock, dropped off 75+% back a month ago. Yeah, we'll pass on this too. All right, let's hop over to the losers list. Finally, we'll see if there's anything looking good on that side. Bunch of crap hard Tavaro, usually to start, unless if there's anything down, you know, that much, like Sava was perhaps. Focus on it, but we'll pass on that to begin. Really, I mean, I know I'm just skimming through here. It might look lazy, but I could tell right away, guys, there's nothing from this losers list, at least the top 27 here so far, that is shortable. That seems like it could be decent. Maybe I'll go through these two. Super flat, not worth it. This REGI, it's just not really doing it for me. Dropped off big earlier today. It is shortable. It is beginning to squeeze back up, perhaps, but we already have such a good list. I'll tell you, we got a couple people in the YouTube stream. You guys are beginning to know me at this point. Got one from Peter, and he knows I'm going to look at this right away. It's my favorite stock, NCLH. You could tell it's my favorite stock based on my lining on the charts. Norwegian Cruise Line, sideless stock, moving with the market, as you guys can clearly see. I mean, just looking at the correlation between the Dow and NCLH for the most part, right? So ultimately, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to, you know, keep in mind some of these sideless stocks. If there's anything that's really making a sharper move down, NCLH is making a steady move down, steadier probably than RCL. I'm a sucker for NCLH, Peter. I might just add that to the list. But otherwise, aside from this list, guys, generally, it would be a good day to follow the market. So if we happen to see continuation on the way down, look to focus right back on that NCLH. MGM, pretty stagnant. Just ripping right through some sideless stocks, guys. If there's anything making a bit of a sharper move down. You know what? I just got a ping, actually. I didn't look on this for a little bit, but it's the last one I got from Benzinga Pro. Lyft. Lyft is doing pretty good on the way down, at least. Just broke down below 33.50 support, holding it at least the first time as resistance. So we'll add Lyft to our list, at least for the meantime. All right, what else do we have here, guys? We have from Grant saying, go plug. Yeah, we'll check back in on plug. High or low, at least. Still has to make a higher high, of course. WKHS, just check back in on that one. No bueno. So it ended up holding 9, but it never ended up breaking higher. So unfortunately, we know what happens. Eventually, if this does not break out further and make a higher low, it ends up breaking down and making a lower low. So we're going to keep this on our list, WKHS, but at this point, we might not get as clean of a run up. Craig calling out IDEX. That was one from the last week that we've been following. Another stock, as you can see, I lined up here a bit. Damn, we're going to have so many stocks on our list, guys. Yeah, I mean, IDEX for the meantime, at least, we'll put on our main list. Major resistance, you would assume, the 82,000 share order on the ask off 3. I would also expect first attempt to fail. So if this pops above 3, I wouldn't be surprised if it pulls right back down. There we go. Craig, you're faster than Benzinga Pro right now. Just got the ping as we speak on Benzinga Pro. All right, guys, great teamwork. All right, what else do we have? Anything? CFRX from Dom. Low volume. I'm not going to put this on our main list, but obviously nice trend, new high. If you're following this as a swing trade, or if you've been in this maybe off like a low volume pop from like 710, doing pretty good. But for right now, just a little low volume for me at this time of the day. All right, then lastly, NKLA he'll follow up with. It is popping. It is pushing up, guys. This thing ended up making a nice run yesterday, made a nice run the day before. So we had to pull back this morning, but damn, this is a nice reversal. Given the liquidity, I mean, this is expected to see, the wacky spread, the lighter orders on the books. So that's not surprising whatsoever for this NKLA. Yeah, I mean, hey, I'll say this. Like I've said before, with this stock and others in the past, this is a level 5 stock inside our live trading room here. So if you've been following this, if you've been making money on this trade, you know who you are. So, at that point, I'd put it on the main list, but I don't want to add this to our main list just to distract some of our newer students, some of our newer traders that are trying to follow some of the tighter spread stocks that are on this list, whether it be Plug, VXRT. I mean, hell, even WKHS. It's a, fast moving stock, but stock trades a lot of volume on the order book, tighter spread, and a bunch of others here too. So definitely a good call, Dom, and more of a level 5 there. All right, I think we're good, guys. We have like 30 stocks on our list at this point, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 to be exact. All right, I will jump back to Sint. Actually, it might make 14. Pulled right back down. Still hasn't broken a lower low. Hasn't broken out yet, but if it holds here and pumps right back up, then we might eventually get that move that we were looking for. All right, 14 it is. So we'll add Sint to the bottom at least. So we're hopeful, but not too optimistic on this. All right. If we end up getting the call here on 250, jump right to it, guys, because, if it pops 250, just like we talk about in class and just like we talk about inside our live trading room, when big volume levels get filled, we typically expect a big result. So, hey, we'd look to try and jump in once it pops above 250. If it does that, though, make sure that you set your stop, because if it's a false breakout and this pulls right back down, that's when it can make for a nasty drop off. So I'll add this to our list, and hopefully it makes the move that we're all looking for, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so for all of us streaming on social media here, Facebook Live and YouTube, if you guys have any questions, make sure that you guys call the phone number down below on the banner. One of our education advisors will gladly pick up, just provide more detail. And aside from that, guys, for all of our students here inside our live trading room, just give me a quick couple seconds, a minute. I'm going to post and tweet the picks out to everybody, and then I'm going to post the link for class coming up. So no rest for the wicked for me. I got like 10 minutes. All right, guys, so class in 10 minutes. I'll talk to you guys coming up shortly. Take care.